I offer oral transmission, which is those of you who received it think, oh, I'm getting a blessing again. Those who have not received it think I'm receiving the seeds of Lama Tsongkhapa's blessings within my mind stream. Where we got the teachings from must be from a real teacher, must be from a real scripture, a real Dharma text. It cannot just be pulled out of the air. Cannot be. So ordinary people like me must give you a lineage and tell you where it came from. That is by tradition before we started teaching. So that you know that after 3 hours of teaching, oh, Tara told me. You're like, what? Some of you might believe me. Some of you might not. But that doesn't happen to me. Tara doesn't talk to me. So this lineage is, the oral transmission was given to me by His Holiness Kyabje Rinpoche. He was one of the great throne holders of Lama Tsongkhapa, which I met in Howell, New Jersey. He came to visit us. And only the oral transmission. I received the whole initiation, practice, empowerments from my root guru, His Holiness Kyabje Rinpoche. That should be 1989, right? 83, is it? I forgot the date. Okay, anyways, this was the United States. I was 18 years old. So I received a complete practice, explanation, teaching, empowerment, oral transmission, complete from His Holiness Kyabje Rinpoche. After which, a few years later, I went into full retreat with tormas, offerings, mantras, meditation. So I went into full retreat and I completed the retreat. So therefore, I have received it from Rinpoche. I have done the required commitments. I have done the practices. So today, what I'm passing to you is from my root teacher, Kyabje Rinpoche himself. And he gave these teachings in Geshe Tsurim Gyaltsen Center in Los Angeles. So my teacher, Geshe-la, was there. My root teacher, Kyabje Rinpoche, was there. So it was a very, very special occasion at that time. So today I pass these teachings to you again. And especially for the pastors, be alert and aware. Because whatever you learn is what you should share with other people. All right? Ma Sita, the great Geshe Tsurim Gyaltsen, for over 8 years when I was in Los Angeles. I joined him when I was 16 years old and I lived in the Dharma Center. And I left when I was 22, 23 for Ganden Monastery. So in Los Angeles, I was so fortunate. I lived with one of the greatest living masters of this century. And I received many explanations and teachings and practice of Lama Tsongkhapa from Geshe-la also. Many. One time in Los Angeles, they were having an international Buddhist gathering at the University of Oriental Studies in Los Angeles. And it was quite a big hall. It was packed, a couple of hundred people. And there was Buddhist monks, teachers, and nuns from all traditions of Buddhism. Zen, Thai, Cambodian, Burmese, all. And Geshe-la was invited. It's in this book. Geshe-la was invited to represent the Tibetan tradition. And I went with him. It's just 2 or 3 of us. And when we arrived at the hall, we stayed there. We were ushered in, and Geshe-la sat down with all the other Dharma teachers, and I was sitting behind him because I went as his assistant and his servant, and I was very lucky. And each tradition had 15, 20 minutes to do a special chanting. In their way, their style. Everybody was so grand. The Chinese ones, they had bells, they chanted in unison, they had their uniforms. The Cambodian ones, the Vietnamese ones, everybody had their tradition. Everybody had the Korean ones were very elaborate. They had bells, drums, incense. They got up, they prostrated, they went down, they went up, they went down. Well, I was quite arrogant. So that's nothing. The Tibetan tradition is really great. You haven't seen the tantric rituals. So I was sitting there thinking, oh, I hope Geshe-la recites something like Yamataka, get his bell and vajra out, get his crowns out, and sit there and just really wow the crowd and show off. I was hoping that I was sitting next to it. And I was confident. I was thinking, oh, there's nothing. Bell, shmel. So when it came to our turn, everybody really took their time. When it came to our turn, it was just me and Geshe-la. Geshe-la folded his hands. He didn't want his ritual bells. He's like, no. He didn't want his ritual bells, nothing. He didn't want anything special. He didn't want to wear anything special. He just sat there. He folded his hands and he recited the Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa. Slow and rhythmically, without even singing. Geshe-la has a beautiful singing voice, without singing. So when he started, I was like, oh no. I was thinking to myself, oh no. And all the other people were sitting there like, that's it. And I was thinking, oh no, Geshe, please. And I thought, maybe it's just a preliminary. Maybe after that he'll recite something expensive, because he's got it all memorized. Well, no, he didn't. So when he got to the second shiloka, the second paragraph, I joined in to recite with him. And the other Geshe-las, they were there, one or two there, just about 3 or 4 of us. I had memorized it, they hadn't. So I recited with him. So Geshe-las, the whole hall is huge. Geshe-las' voice is permeating. Suddenly I joined in and I started chanting, because we're supposed to all chant together. So when I started chanting, everybody, the whole audience went, because like I got red hair and I'm wearing my jeans and I'm wearing my strange clothes and I'm sitting there with Geshe-la and I just look like a little weirdo, you know. And everybody's looking at me and I'm 17, 18, you know, and I'm chanting and I close my eyes. I was shaking because thinking, oh, please don't let my, because sometimes when you're nervous, your memory fails. Things you recite every day, you know, when people watch it, you know, because I have a big ego. When we have a big ego, we get nervous, so we mess up. So I was sitting here chanting, and Geshe-la's voice is beautiful, and I was like, I was so nervous, you know, but everybody looked. Halfway through, I calmed my mind down, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to do what Geshe-la says, that's all. So we chanted, and our chanting was just like 7, 8 minutes. I said, no rituals, no bells, no costume, no uniform, nothing. That was it. And when we finished, some people turned around, they're kind of like, oh, okay, finished, next. So after when we left the hall, I said to Geshe-la, everybody really had a chance to show off their tradition, you know. Do you think that we really showed off? You know, we did like you know, showed them how rich Tibetan, he says, oh yes. He said, what would be more profound than Lama Tsongkhapa's Guru Yoga? Everybody here got blessings of Tsongkhapa Manjushri. Everybody got blessed with that. Everybody heard the name. Everybody heard the mantra. Everybody in the hall was blessed. How more profound is that? And I went, oh my God. I was so ashamed. I was so ashamed because you know what? Geshe-la didn't go there to show off like me. He didn't go there to look good. He didn't go there to suppress the other traditions or make them feel we're better. He went there to participate in a genuine Buddhist event. I went there to look good. I went there to show off. I went there to tell everybody I got the right center, I got the right guru, I got the right lineage. But at the end of the talk, it really humbled me down because I realized Geshe-la is just Dharma. And then the second thing I realized on that day was Tsongkhapa's practice is that profound. Out of the thousands of practices that Geshe-la knows and has memorized, he's memorized thousands of pages, okay? He's a scholar. He used that one. So from then I just thought, wow, you know, I'm going to just follow that. Just follow that all the time. So anyways, that was a little story to tell you how Geshe-la showed me in front of so many people the profundity of the practice of Tsongkhapa. The full lineage, the full initiation, the full oral transmission I received from His Holiness Kyabje Rinpoche. Although I received some bits and bits of teachings from other teachers, the full one is from Rinpoche. It was at this time. This is me and His Holiness Rinpoche. It was at this time that I had received it. During this period when he visited us, he was with us for 6 months. I was his assistant and his attendant, his servant, his cleaner, and his cook when he came to visit. I can tell you honestly, there wasn't one time I had negative thoughts, felt lazy, felt tired, or felt that it was a lot of work to serve His Holiness Rinpoche. Even at the age of 18, not one time. I would give up anything to go back to do that again. So for auspicious reasons, I'm going to give one to each of you, because this is the time, this is the year that I received the teachings from Rinpoche, and so I'm passing the teachings to you. And when I pass you the teachings, I'm not telling you that I'm holy. I'm telling you I received from Rinpoche. Therefore, you can trust these teachings are excellent. This was in California. Just he and I taking a picture. I cropped it so it's easier. All right, so remember, you received the Lama Tsongkhapa practice today, and then I received it from Rinpoche. Now, the Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa, or the practice of Lama Tsongkhapa, has many lineages. Many, many lineages, because it's quite widespread. But the lineage we're going to focus on, the one that I received from Kyabje Rinpoche, is Segyu lineage. Se is a place in Tibet near the Panchen Lama's monastery, and Trashilompo, Se. Gyu means lineage. So Se-gyu is the lineage from this area in Tibet, because most of the lamas who were very lineage holders came from that area of Tibet, from Se area. The original name of these is called the hundreds of deities of the land of the joyful land. The hundreds of deities of the joyful land, or in Tibetan, Gaden Lagyama. Gaden Lagyama is translated as the hundreds of deities of the joyful land. Hundreds of deities mean there are many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas there. The land of joy refers to Tushita. Okay? Tushita is the divine residence, paradise of Maitreya Buddha. And the Lord of Tushita is Maitreya Buddha himself. Okay, so Lama Tsongkhapa's meditation, from the first line, you are visualizing him coming from the Lord of the joyful land that has hundreds of deities. So the Lord or the protector of that land is Maitreya. What does Maitreya protect us from? Going to the three lower realms. Because we develop great love when we practice Maitreya Buddha. Matri, that's his name, Maitreya, great love, Matre. So, because Lama Tsongkhapa emanates from Gaden heaven, or Tushita. Tushita is Gaden. Gaden, Tushita, same. Gaden, Tushita, same. So because he comes from that, it is called the hundreds of deities of the joyful land. So in short, we're going to make it even shorter and sweeter. We just call it Tsongkhapa yoga. Tsongkhapa practice. That's all. We don't need all these long names. But if you want to know more, you don't have to write a lot. It's all here. All in this little comprehensive book. Everyone who is serious about getting somewhere in their practice should read this book twice a year. Everyone who is serious about their practice should read this book twice a year. Okay? If you read this book thoroughly twice a year, you will refresh your memory. Now, it came from the Buddha Manjushri who taught the Guru Yoga in a set of scriptures called the Emanation Scriptures. He taught the teachings directly to Lama Tsongkhapa. Lama Tsongkhapa extracted these teachings, which he received from Manjushri, and passed it to his disciple. And that's on page 5. So he passed it to his student, Je Sherab Sengye. Then this was passed down to Benden Sangbo. Benden Sangbo was the first one to write this down. Okay? After that was passed to Gyuchen Gendunpe. Then was passed to Gyuchen Dashipa, the great Lama. Then to Je Samdru Gyatso. Then to Tsundrupa. Then Doji Sangbo. Then Kedrup Sangye Gyatso. Then it was passed down to Kyabje Pabonga Dojishang, Kyabje Pabonga Deching Ningpo. Kyabje Pabonga Rinpoche, Deching Ningpo is the same. Deching Ningpo is his monk name. Kyabje Pabonga is his title. So Kyabje Pabonga, my name is Tsem Rinpoche, but my monk name is Tenzin Sopa. Okay, so you can call me Tsem Rinpoche Tenzin Sopa. Same thing here, Pabonga Rinpoche Deching Ningpo. Okay, Deching Ningpo was his name. He's very famous for that. Then it was passed down to his disciple, Kyabje Trijan Rinpoche. This was passed down to his disciple, Kyabje Son Rinpoche. And I received it from His Holiness, Kyabje Son Rinpoche. And today I'm sharing it and passing it down to all of you. So where these teachings came from, there's a clear lineage. Okay? So you don't have to tell people, oh, Rinpoche had a vision and he received it in a vision. No, you say Rinpoche received it from Son Rinpoche. Son Rinpoche received it from Trijan Rinpoche, and so on, so on. So you're very confident where your teachings come. So when you do your meditations and practice, you pray to Tsongkhapa, when you have Tsongkhapa image, when you talk about Tsongkhapa and mantra, you have confidence because it came from somewhere clean and clear, no doubt. Page 19 on the English book. During the time of Lord Buddha, Lama Tsongkhapa was born as Brahmin, the son of a Brahmin. But Buddha already saw that this person was not an ordinary being. He was already a bodhisattva, not enlightened yet, but a high-level bodhisattva. When Lama Tsongkhapa at that time, in the form of Brahmin, saw the Buddha, he ran up to him, made a prayer, and offered a crystal rosary. When he offered the crystal rosary, Buddha placed both of his golden hands on Lama Tsongkhapa's head that time and said, "After I pass away, and my pure doctrine is absent, you will appear as an ordinary being, performing the deeds of a Buddha, and establishing the joyful land, the great protector, in the land of the snows. So in the root tantra of Manjushri, Buddha made a direct prediction to Lama Tsongkhapa. In the future, to the north, Tibet's north of India, when my teachings have gone down, you will be born in the form of an ordinary person, study and practice, and you will bring the teachings up again. Buddha made that direct prophecy. So Lama Tsongkhapa is already mentioned before he was born. Buddhism has its own messiahs, it has its own prophets, it has its own predictions of high lamas to come. It's just that the Western world doesn't know about it. So Lama Tsongkhapa was already predicted. And you have to understand, the scripture that the root tantra of Manjushri is 2,500 years old. So if you look at it, it talks about a coming of this being. It talks about a coming of this being, and it mentions that the Buddha mentioned that he will establish a monastery with the name Ge, meaning virtue, between the areas of Ji and Den, which is not far from Lhasa. And then it became Geden, the virtuous ones. So the Buddha mentioned in the Manjushri Tantra clearly the place, the time, the area, and the name of this monk. And the monk's name is Sumati Kirti. Of course, Buddha spoke Sanskrit. So Sumati Kirti in the root tantra of Manjushri translates as Losang Chakma. Migme Tsewe Techin Chenezi, Dreamaking Ombo Jamba Yan, Dufoma Yu Jose Sawa Da Panjin gave a Jichin Tsongkhapa, Losang Chakwi, Shabla Sowan Dep. So Lama Tsongkhapa's name was predicted by Buddha, the place, the monastery, when, and the time. And remember, let me reiterate, okay? The Manjushri Tantric scriptures are 2,500 years old. It's not something written up after Tsongkhapa appeared. It was existing long before. How do we know? Because we have other lamas, other lineage lamas talking about this tantra way before Tsongkhapa already. So it was already written. So Lama Tsongkhapa was predicted by Shakyamuni himself. So when you pray to Lama Tsongkhapa, you should never think you're in the presence of an ordinary being, or it's an ordinary bodhisattva. He is predicted by the king himself, Tsongkhapa, because Shakyamuni. You must be clear. So if you have a Tsongkhapa statue, you wear a Tsongkhapa pendant, you recite Tsongkhapa's mantra, you should think, I'm reciting a Buddha's mantra. No doubt. And all the great masters, Saramchi, Trijaramchi, my goodness, Geshe Tsuram Gyaltsen, all of them came from Ganden Monastery, built by Tsongkhapa, predicted by Shakyamuni. Can you imagine that? Shakyamuni predicted Tsongkhapa's coming. And even the monastery he's going to build. Even Tsongkhapa's name, the place, the location, the time, clearly in his predictions. And after he predicted, it came as was predicted in these scriptures. And I'm from that monastery. And the lineage you're receiving is from that monastery. So right now you have a direct connection to Buddha Shakyamuni. So you should feel how fortunate I am. So that's why Geshe Tsurim Gyaltsen used to say, to see Tsongkhapa, to hear Tsongkhapa, to even mention his name is a huge blessing and purifies our negative karma. You're very fortunate. And all these practices like Vajragini, all that, Tsongkhapa clarified. He taught, he explained. The practices we practice in our lineage are all handpicked by Lama Tsongkhapa himself. We don't practice anything in the Ganden school, Gelugpa school, not picked by Tsongkhapa for enlightenment. Even Vajragini behind us is picked. Vajragini used to appear to Tsongkhapa all the time, talk to him. So everything within our Ganden school was handpicked by Lama Tsongkhapa, and Lama Tsongkhapa was predicted by Shakyamuni. I need you to let that go in and realize how great this is. Also, Guru Rinpoche himself, the great Padmasambhava, who brought Buddhism to Tibet, predicted Lama Tsongkhapa's coming. It is in that chapter in the book. Please read it.